Are you ready for the best smart home automation gifts for Christmas, their birthday, or any other occasion really? I will try and make this simple for someone not techie that is buying for someone that is techie. And if that is you and you still don't understand what I'm talking about, then you should watch my overview of smart home automation that I link to at the end of this video and then come back. In that video, I break down smart home automation and give ideas so you can see how the options in home automation are endless. Then you can know what the heck you are doing or buying for the smart home automation lover in your life. So let's start with a gift for the absolute beginner in home automation. If the person you are buying for does not have a voice recognizing device like Google Home or Alexa, then that should be your gift. Also, quickly, in my opinion, the difference is if they want to have an amazing and in-depth smart home, then get a Google Home. If they want a more simple home automation and nothing too in-depth, then get Alexa. If they are music lovers, then get a Sonos one with Alexa built in. I have a video more in-depth on all of that if you want to know the difference between Google Home and Alexa. Now, most people start smart homes by buying a bunch of light bulbs as gifts. If you watch my home automation mistakes video, you will know that I think that this is a huge mistake. What you should do is start with automating what you already have in your home. To automate what you already have, there are two great gift ideas that not a lot of people with smart homes even have, and both are very useful. The first is a device called Broadlink. What this device does is basically takes most things that use a remote control and it replaces the remote control to make it a smart device. So my TV that uses a remote can now be smart, and it wasn't smart before. Since the TV uses a remote, I use Broadlink to make it smart. Now I can tell the TV what to do and when I want it to do it. For example, I can tell it to turn on, change the volume, change the channel, change the input. So now my TV is essentially smart because of the Broadlink device. I also made my candles that you see here smart because they too use a remote to turn on and off. With this, I have automated my cabinet lights and literally almost anything that uses a remote in my house. Once you plug any of these devices into your smart home system, you can get it to do all sorts of things. Watch my overview video once again for more on that. If you live in the United States and you want the Broadlink Pro, you have to buy a specific one because some don't work well with American devices that use remote controls. I will link to the specific one in the description below this video. The second device that you will want so you can automate what you already have are smart sockets or outlets. With a smart outlet, you can automate the on and off function of almost everything already in your home. Whether it is a space heater or a curling iron, a fan, a lamp, anything really. Any device that will turn on and off if you plug and unplug it can be automated by a smart outlet. Watch my smart outlet video if you want to know more on that and more on what devices can do this. Now, what you want to look for in smart outlets is just to make sure they are not outlets that use Wi-Fi. Hopefully they will use something called Zigbee instead of Wi-Fi. You don't need to know what Zigbee is, but a long story short, if you get a lot of Wi-Fi outlets, it will eventually slow down the Wi-Fi in your house. So you want to avoid outlets that use Wi-Fi and hopefully use ones that use Zigbee or Z-Wave. And normally it will just say that on the front of the box. I highly recommend these outlets, and there are some newer great ones on the market too that I will link below. I use these outlets for all my Christmas lights so that I have them all come on at dusk and go off at midnight. But you can use them for whatever you want. Speaking of Zigbee and Wi-Fi, here's another idea for a gift. If the person you are gifting for really wants a smart home to show off, then what you need to do is get them a SmartThings hub. It doesn't look like much, but what these things do is they work like a language translator. They're pretty much like C3PO. Sorry, nerd joke. So, all the smart home devices speak one of a few smart home languages. They are Zigbee, Wi-Fi, and Z-Wave. What this hub does is it gets all the devices to communicate and work with each other. So that way, if you see any smart device that you want for your house, you don't have to make sure it speaks the same language as all your other devices first. So for example, if I have a specific light bulb that I like and it does speak the same language as my smart plugs, I need not worry. But the more you want in your home to automate, the more you notice the things that you want speak different smart home languages. So the SmartThings Hub fixes that. But it does more. Once you have all the devices running in your home, with this, you can also have amazing power to do whatever thing you want. I mean, almost anything. What's something random? I can spit on a liquid sensor and have it unlock my car if I want. Or I can have a song play whenever I'm away from my house to make it seem like I'm home. Or in my home, I have a hub that turns off most all my devices, locks my door, shuts my garage when I say time for bed at night. So you choose what you want it to do, because almost anything can trigger another device to do something else if you have the SmartThings Hub. So it is a great gift idea for the person that wants an amazing smart home. One of my favorite devices to gift is simply just Google Chromecast, especially if you decided to use Google Home for your smart home. While Broadlink can turn your regular TV itself into a smart TV, Chromecast can turn your cable networks and TV streaming subscriptions and make them smart. Because just with Broadlink, you can just turn on and off and change the volume and input. So with this, you can tell the shows that you're watching what you want them to do. But my favorite is when you couple this with a subscription to YouTube TV, not to be confused with YouTube. With YouTube TV, I just say whatever I want to watch on my TV. I can channel surf, I can change channels. Another great thing is I can preview what is playing on other channels on my phone before I even change the channel. So that way, channel surfing is a lot easier. I can tell it how many minutes I want to skip forward in a show, so I can skip through commercials that YouTube TV has on its DVR. And so it just does amazing things. Also, I can get all of this on my phone, so I carry my cable service with me in the car. Now, there are other cable streaming services and other TV casting devices, but none are as good for automation as the combination of YouTube TV, Chromecast, and Google Home. Now, my last great gift idea are lights or lighting, but not just any lighting will do. I tried to keep things simple in my home. If you want lights that just change colors, there are plenty on the market, and I will get to those in a minute. But if you don't need them to change colors, most people are more happy with smart light dimmer switches. Here are the reasons why. 1, switches can control many lights at one time, so it's less expensive and easier to control. Dimmer switches don't have to be replaced like light bulbs either, and they work just like normal switches for lighting. So those not into the whole smart home thing, including grandparents and guests that come over, are still able to turn on and off the lights just like normal dimmers. And it will still work even if the internet goes down. So that's what I recommend for just regular smart home lighting. If you want colored light bulbs to do all sorts of fancy tricks and change colors in different scenarios that you come up with, then there is no substitute for Philips Hue light bulbs. So for someone that wants an in-depth smart home, you will need Philips smart home bulbs. They are more expensive and they require their own special hub, but they are way better than the rest. There is some less expensive options called Opto that I will link to below as well. I use these a lot. They also work with that Philips hub that you need. So they can still do all the fancy tricks that all the Philips Hub smart light bulbs can do. Only they're less expensive. Depending on the type of light, they are less than about half the price of Philips Hue bulbs. And if you don't want Philips or Opto, like I said, just make sure they don't have Wi-Fi. I have a few light bulbs that are called Sangled light bulbs, and I will link to those as well. And they worked well for me before I started getting into Philips Hue, but they use Zigbee and not Wi-Fi, and they just get the job done. That being said, honestly, in my home, I have mostly smart dimmer switches. In fact, almost all the switches in my house are smart light dimmer switches. I have a few Gled Opto lights connected to Philips Hue Hub for any color changing that I want to do. I have a more detailed video about smart light bulbs, so I would go watch those next if you're interested in buying smart bulbs for someone. A lot of these smart home gift ideas people don't even know about, so my guess is if you get them one of these gifts, you will really impress someone. They are all in the description below, and it helps me out to click on those links and get the item that you want to buy. Honestly, most home automation enthusiasts won't even know how much they wanted these items. So watch more of my smart home videos. Also, watch my travel videos where I show you the best things to do wherever I go. In my health videos, I do health experiments on myself so you know what's going on in your body. I always strive to blow your mind and never waste your time. So like, subscribe, and watch another. Cheers.